Hello, Internet! How is it going? Good, I'm glad to hear it. So, joining me today is not the usual Alex, but it is another friend of mine who was in the Sonic Frontiers video, if you guys watched that. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, I'm Patrick.
You may know him from the Anime Secrets, Toku Secrets podcast. Cool if you do, if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. With the highly anticipated for both me and pretty much anybody who has a PlayStation, highly anticipated Spider-Man 2 is 4 months away, which is after almost 2 years of nothing. 4 months away, it's mind blowing. But we thought it'd be a cool idea to go back and talk about the Spider-Man games that have come out since we've been kids. Not like, say, because we're 90s kids. So I'm not going back to like the Atari or the Nintendo or anything like that. Strictly PS1 onward. So we're going to start with I believe this came out in 2000.
Yes. Yes, it did.
The simply titled Spider-Man. Which, at the time of release, I think was considered by most to be the best superhero game ever made up to that point.
Yes, it was.
I mean, you had like, I heard the Batman game from the NES is solid.
Batman '89 was good. Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems. It was a Super Nintendo game that was like a platformer centered around the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't blame you if you've never heard of it. Not many people have. And then there's the Capcom Fighters, which everybody knows what those are about, but those don't really count.
No, because they're just Street Fighter games with Marvel characters. That's what they are. That'd be like counting Injustice as a Superman game. Just no. But Spider-Man had never really had a good game, like ever. I took the Tony Hawk developers to give them one.
Well,
okay.
Well, I mean,
I guess like the beat 'em ups, like Maximum Carnage.
Maximum Carnage and Separation Anxiety were both really good games, but
aren't those Spider-Man and Venom?
Yeah, Venom is playable in both of them.
Okay. But I guess this is the first that's not like a full-on beat up. It's actually more like I don't know how I would even describe this game. An action platformer, I guess.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best way to describe it.
So this isn't based on the real. I think the '90s show had just finished airing around this time.
Like a year or so prior.
But the voice actor for Spider-Man is not Christopher Daniel Barnes. It's Rito Romano from Spider-Man Unlimited, which is weird to me that it's not Christopher Daniel Barnes, but whatever.
You can make it okay because the Unlimited suit is in the game.
Oh, it's true. You can unlock that. And then I don't know I don't know the guy's name, but whoever voices Doc Ock, who sounds like a Nazi. Like, to this day, why does he have that accent? What was that called?
I don't know. I don't know why they made Ock German.
It doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
But that's all the cartoon. Everyone else, I think, is newly cast.
I want to say Carnage might have the same voice actor, but
Carnage did like what, one episode?
He was in like 1 or 2 episodes, but I think that was, if it's not his voice actor from the animated series, it's pretty good.
It's weird because Venom's in the intro, like prominently in the intro. He's in like 5 episodes in total.
Yeah.
He's not in a lot of the show, but he's like the prominent feature on the cover of the intro. It's weird. I guess he was popular at the time.
But yeah, he was very popular.
He still is.
Yeah. That's why people are hyped for Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. But going back to this game, the plot, to my knowledge, was not adapted from a comic storyline, not ever adapted into a comic. This is strictly its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, it starts off with seemingly reformed Otto Octavius. Yeah, okay, sure. At like the Science Expo. I can't remember what he's promoting. I cannot remember to save my life. But it gets Peter Parker's there taking pictures because of course he is, and the device gets taken by Spider-Man, which doesn't make sense because unless you've been living under a rock since the 60s, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So, huh?
Oh no, Ben Riley.
Oh God! Oh God! Don't do that to me. That would have been a twist. Oh
Right.
man. But Eddie Brock is also there. They bump into each other. Spider-Man's like, I gotta stop this guy, and then Eddie Brock turns into Venom. Just there for some reason. Okay.
There's nobody around him, so
Yeah, he's like, we are Venom, we're here. Okay, cool. Spider-Man runs into Black Cat, who tells him, rather, that there's a bank heist going on. So Spider-Man quickly takes care of that. And then immediately after that, has to save J. Jonah James from Scorpion. And then, of course, the cops come after him because Spider-Man's life can't ever be happy. And because they blame him for the whole robbery thing. The Daredevil shows up. There are a lot of random superhero cameos you can do, like a lot of.
yeah.
I can think of like 3 others off the top of my head. But he's like, please tell me, you didn't do it, did you? And Spider-Man's like, no. And Daredevil's like, okay, I believe you. I'm just fucks off. Okay. Sure.
Bye, Murdoch.
I don't think you see him again until the ending.
No, you don't.
Lost my train of thought. So after that, they're swinging, or Spider-Man swinging. He ends up on a building, and on the screen you see Venom, like taunting him. It's like, "I got your wife," but Rhino's attacking. So Spider-Man's like, "All right, let me take out Rhino, and then I'll go after Venom." After making Rhino look like a chump, Black Cat gets taken by some very suspicious-looking doctors. And then the driver's seat, you see Carnage and Doc Ock, so it's like they didn't even try to be subtle about it.
Yeah.
But so Spider-Man runs into Venom after talking to the Human Torch, and then chases Venom into a sewer where the Lizard is. You can skip the Lizard entirely; like you can miss him.
Yeah,
I've done it.
Yeah, he is a cameo, but you have to really find him.
It's actually really easy to skip him too. Like for years, I didn't even know he was in the game. Like I would just go through my characters and like the character list and see the Lizard. I was like, wait, he's in this game? What?
Yeah, he is.
No, I know he is now. I found him since then, but at the time I was like, what? Okay, sure, the Lizard's in the game. All right, I believe you. But so Spider-Man beats Venom, saves Mary Jane after Venom realizes, oh wait, I saw you at the. Oops, our bad. One of my favorite dialogue changes in the game is when he says "our bad." He's like, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, Venom. They do a good job of capturing Venom's goofy personality because a lot of the external media doesn't capture this, but Eddie Brock's actually a smart aleck.
Dude, Venom is actually kind of a troll.
Yeah, he is.
Like a lot of the if Spider-Man 3 is your main knowledge of Venom, first off, I'm sorry, but Venom's not as like evil and sinister as like the '90s show made him out to be.
No.
Like this game does him a lot better. Like calling him Spider Wuss. Oh god, Venom's my favorite character in this game. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, Venom is entertaining.
So they agree to team up to find out who the fake Spider-Man is. And Venom throws out ideas like the Submariner and Thor and Galactus.
Yeah, he's not taking it seriously.
And Peter's just like, seriously? So they go into the Daily Bugle. And Venom ditches Spider-Man because he senses the presence of Carnage, who he refers to as his other, which is weird. Is that
Yeah, it's his
a thing?
offspring.
But Then there are just random symbiotes there. Huh? So in the Daily Bugle, he finds fire or something to make his webs fiery, so he has an easier time beating the symbiotes. Cool, right? And while you're there, you find out who the fake Spider-Man is. It was Mysterio, who grows really, really tall. I didn't think Mysterio had powers, but here we are.
He doesn't. He's just that good at. He's just that good at misdirection.
Magic. So after Spider-Man breaks the fishbowl, Mysterio tells him that there's this warehouse on a waterfront where what you're looking for is there. Spider runs to the Punisher and is like, I'm going down there, bye. So he ends up in this underwater laboratory and finds out who the bad guy is. Doc Ock and Carnage. For some reason, they've teamed up.
Yeah, this has always been my biggest gripe with the story. Carnage is too insane to team up with anybody.
That's my thing. Like, why would I could have bought Venom maybe teaming up with somebody?
This is one of the things I think the Game Boy Color's plot does better when it comes to this.
Well, we could circle back around to that because I don't know that game. You know that game a lot better than I do. So Venom can teleport in this game. I forgot about that. Is that an ability he has?
Well, it's the symbiote can sort of cloak itself.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. So Venom fights Carnage and Spider-Man fights Doc Ock. Spider-Man beats Doc Ock. Carnage beats Venom, and then Spider-Man beats Carnage. Because there's a sonic bubble in the middle of the room because Doc Ock's smart.
Yeah,
and is like, hey,
it's dangerous.
So Spider-Man thinks he wins, but you see the symbiote come off of Cletus Cassidy. And after he's like, all right, it's over, he gets grabbed by Doc Ock's tentacles, and the scariest part of my childhood is right here. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
His freaking voice.
The Carnage symbiote has bonded with Doc Ock into, what did they call it? Monster Ock?
Monster Ock, yeah.
The final boss you can't actually beat.
Yeah.
You just gotta run. And like he's talking creepy, he's like breathing down your neck. He's like, die! Get away from me! And it's intense because the whole place is exploding. Something about that I'll get to in a second. Spider-Man gets away and Doc Ock gets caught in an explosion, but the symbiote saved him. Gets Doc Ock out of there, and he's saved by Venom and Captain America. When did Venom get out of there?
Yeah, when did Venom get out of there? Where did he find Captain America?
Honestly. While Spider-Man was there, he saved Black Cat, too. I forgot.
Yeah.
But
remember her?
Yeah. Something that you never see is Cletus Cassidy never gets out of there.
Yeah. They did kind of leave him back there, didn't they? I
So,
always assumed that Venom got him.
I just think it's funnier to think that that Spider-Man just left him there to die.
Yeah, I always just took it as Venom got him.
Because the Carnage symbiote never left there either.
No.
But Spider-Man's playing cards with Captain America, Daredevil, I think the Punisher?
Yeah. And
Human Torch is dancing with somebody, I forgot who. But then all the villains are in a jail cell where Mysterio's like, Doc Ock's plan was horrible! We can't work with the symbiotes! Which, who thought that was a good idea? And
I love how he calls them out, and then the GPA's plot basically admits to that.
Doc Ock starts banging his head against the cell door, and that's just the end of the game.
Very simple plot.
It gets the job done.
Yeah.
It's not as in-depth as a game like, say, Batman Arkham, or even the new Spider-Man game.
No.
But it does the character Spider-Man justice.
Yeah.
And Venom is just amazing. Venom is the highlight of this game for me. His section is the longest section in the game, too.
Yeah, the sewer chase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because this game is relatively short. You can beat it in like 6 hours. But
yeah, it's not a long game.
There are also a lot of unlockable costumes, which I learned a lot about a lot of these at the time from this game. Ben Reilly's an unlockable suit. Both Ben Reilly suits, actually.
Yeah, his sensational Spider-Man costume is in here.
The black suit is unlockable. All these have perks, too.
Yeah.
If you want to break the game in half, just be Captain Universe. But
yeah, it's God mode.
2099 is a costume in here.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man Unlimited, which you already mentioned.
Yeah.
It's
like the Bagman base Peter Parker.
Bagman, just Peter Parker. Quick Change Spidey.
Yeah.
Which those just make the game harder.
Yeah. They're challenge run costumes.
I think that's all of them. I think that's
it.
So there's a lot. You can find a lot of comic books throughout the game too, at least covers,
which are actual comics.
It's really cool.
They're meant to reference like the first appearance of a lot of the characters that appear in this game.
Yeah, like Venom, Doc Ock,
yeah,
Rhino. There's one notable character that's not in this or the next game, and that's Green Goblin.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
I think I know why. I think it's because of the. I think it's because
the movie.
They had the movie because they were developing the movie game too.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were. Like,
we'll get to it when we get to it because the first Raimi movie game is kind of the third game in this series gameplay wise.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get to it.
Yeah.
Graphically, this game has aged really bad. The characters don't have hands.
Well, they do, but they don't animate.
Their mouths don't move. Except Venom and Carnage.
Yeah.
What else?
The PC version looks a lot better.
The Dreamcast version does too.
Yeah, I don't know which one of those looks better between the PC version and the Dreamcast version.
Oh, and Spider-Man doesn't have his black lines on his suit.
In the PC version, he does.
And Dreamcast one too, but on the PS1, they're just not there.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah, the PS1 version, though, is probably still the best version to play.
Oh, because of the controller, yeah.
Well, no, because it's actually stable. The PC version is a glitchy mess.
The Dreamcast version actually runs very well.
Does it? Okay.
But it's just the Dreamcast controller. It doesn't have 4 triggers. It only has 2, so web's I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's because you have to press like L and Y rather than just hitting L1. I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but...
And then there's the N64 version.
I've never played it. I just know it has no cutscenes.
It doesn't have cutscenes, and the cutscenes have no voiceover.
That's weird.
But graphically, it's the worst version of the game, but it actually plays pretty clean.
I mean, if you only had an N64, it's not the worst option.
Yeah, no, it's an acceptable port. But it's weird having the game not really have loading times.
We were doing so well, too. But, yeah, no, that is weird, because N64 games really didn't have load times, did they?
No. That's one of the advantages of cartridges.
Yeah, that's why I love the Switch so much. But gameplay-wise, this is a very simple action platformer game. There's not a lot to it. You jump, you swing, you punch, you kick, you throw webs. I don't even think he has a double jump in this game.
No, he doesn't.
But the combos are very easy to get off. Punch, punch, punch. Kick, kick, kick. You have a couple web moves. There's just regular web, impact web.
There's the web gauntlet, the web barrier.
The web yank.
Yeah. The web barrier is cheesy if you have enough web cartridge.
It's easy to
abuse it.
Yeah. Spider-Man himself doesn't really get any unlockables aside from like the fire web.
Or the
and you can find
armor.
I was about to say you can find the spider armor.
Yeah, which is an actual costume, by the way.
Yeah, but it basically just gives you double health.
Double health.
So it's a good power up. Oh, you can wall crawl, of course. It's very simple, front to back level design. It's not open world. You could swing on the clouds. You just web swinging is basically just flying in this game.
Yeah, it's meant to be like a glide, because you can only activate it when you're like within a certain range to buildings.
Yeah, but you don't never see it attached to a building. He just does it. Which that wasn't really a thing until Spider-Man 2, the Spider-Man 2 movie game.
Yeah, that was the first time we actually got a lot of stuff, actually.
We'll get to that later on, but for a first attempt, and the voice acting's pretty good, and the soundtrack's pretty cool. It's decent.
The soundtrack is very grungy because it has like a tin can effect over it the whole time.
It does, actually. Wow. They have a weird remix of the old Spider-Man song. It's
the menu theme and everything.
Yeah.
The GB Color one actually has a 16-bit remix of it.
Speaking of the the GB Color version,
yeah.
Go on about that a little bit, because I've never played it.
It's a Metroidvania style game. Yeah, it's like there's like a very small sandbox New York that you can swing around in, where there's enemies running around that you can beat up. It has a level up system in it too, which can increase like his defense, his damage. He gets new moves added to his basic combo chain. He gets a web swing. There's upgrades you can find around the map, like more health, or like what are they called, the super impact web, which lets his impact webs do damage. Different enemies in that version. Lizard and Hobgoblin are bosses that you can fight.
Hobgoblin?
Yeah, Hobgoblin. And the plot is different in the sense that Carnage didn't team up with Ock. Ock kidnapped Venom and Carnage so he could research the symbiotes on his own. And Venom got out to try to warn Spider-Man what Ock was doing, but he was too weak from the experiments, and he eventually got Pete to understand what he was telling him. So he goes into the sewers, and Ock has this huge lab that he has to navigate to find him. And then he beats him. Carnage gets freed during the battle. You fight Carnage, and then you have to fight Monster Ock. You actually have to fight him.
Ooh.
Which is kind of cool.
That is actually pretty cool.
But the game is, for a Game Boy Color game, that game is really good looking. It's got a good OST. It controls great. I know that a lot of people haven't heard about that version because it was during that era where if you had a handheld port of a console version of a console game, it was usually like bad because it was made on the cheap. But
yeah, I remember Turok 2 was one of those. I remember playing.
Yeah, if you can ever find this game and give it a chance, please do. It's such an underrated Spider-Man game. It's hard though. Not because of the bosses per se, but because the game has Castlevania-esque flying enemies, and if you know how those work.
Even the PS1 game is no slouch.
Oh no, it's on the higher difficulties. That game will mess you up.
Oh my god, yeah. If you're gonna do if you're gonna go on like the higher difficulties, try using a different suit to have at least some sort of advantage.
Yeah, like Spider-Man 2099's for the enhanced damage, or
a black suit with unlimited webs,
infinite webbing.
If you just want to break the game in half to beat Captain Universe, just win.
Well, yeah, because God mode.
Honestly, like, there's no challenge if you use that suit.
No, but you have to beat hard mode first to get it.
Or you could just put in a code and unlock everything.
Yeah, speaking of that, have you ever played the game on What If mode before?
I was going to get to that, yes.
Okay, you were going to get to that.
Yeah, because there's a code you can put in, and, like, the Watcher will show up and be like, this is different.
Yeah, Uatu.
Like, you can see things like Ghost Rider just riding up a building.
Yeah.
The Submariner shows up.
He's watching you fight Carnage.
One of the levels is just on a blimp.
And Dr. Feelgood was like colored around the arena where you fight Doc Ock.
Yeah, it's a trip.
It's a fun mode. It doesn't change the game in any way, but
It changes some dialogue and adds some fun things, but
yeah.
it's a lot better than the one in the second one, but we'll talk about that.
Wait, the second game had a what if mode?
Yeah, but it's very repetitive.
Huh.
There was one more thing I wanted to say. I just lost the train of. Oh, about the cheat code menu. So they have a fun thing in there. If you put a curse word in, Spider-Man will come up and punch the curse words.
Yeah, it'll change it to something nice.
I mean, that's a cute attention to detail. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the game does have a good personality to it. The developers had some fun with it,
which is great for a Spider-Man game.
Yeah,
It just feels very much like a Spider-Man game for Spider-Man fans.
Yeah,
and as a game itself, it's dated, but it's still fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at it from the era it was released in, it holds up pretty well alongside some other PS1 games. I would
like
say.
if you compare it to say the new Spider-Man games, you're just a bad person. But it's obviously not going to hold up for the Insomniac. It's just not.
Yeah.
But if you compare it to other superhero games of the era, it stands atop all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put this up against Superman 64. Which one do you want to play? Come on. Like,
yikes.
I'm just saying. That poor guy is never going to catch a break with me.
I'm just convinced nobody knows how to make a game based around his power set.
Someone, hey, Rocksteady, give it a try.
No, they're too busy with that Suicide Squad game. You interested in that? No, I didn't think so.
You know, I was sort of looking forward to that until it wasn't.
Yeah, no. I was like, I'm actually curious as to what this is about. And then they showed the gameplay. I was like, yeah.
Oh, this is the Arkhamverse, really?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
No, I don't believe it either.
This is, for purely nostalgia purposes, one of my favorite Spider-Man games, even though objectively it's not amazing compared to some others. But it's the Spider-Man game I grew up on, so.
It's definitely one of the games I put the most time into, because it was one of the first 3D games I ever played.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, I got this on the PC. That's the one I'm most familiar with.
Oh, see, I first had I currently own the Dreamcast version.
I own every version except for the Dreamcast version.
That's funny. I used to have the PS1 version, but I don't anymore.
I have the PS1 version. I have the Game Boy version. I have the N64 version. I still have my PC disc.
So I think the PS1 version sold the most because the sequel is a PS1 exclusive.
Yes, it is.
Which is weird because the PS2 was out at that point.
Yeah, that is weird. The Game Boy Color version got its own unique sequel.
We might talk about that. I'm not sure.
Have you ever played that one?
Nope.
It's a good game too, but it's very different than the first one.
So, if I were to rank this as a Spider-Man fan, I'd give it an 8. As a regular average review, I'd probably just give it a 7.
Well, I mean, I always have to look at it from its era, because if you compare it to modern games, it's there's a lot of stuff. It's an old game, okay? The game is what, 22 years old now?
23 years old.
It's an old game by game standards, but looking at it in the perspective in the time it was released in, I think it's a solid 7. I think it's a game that you should definitely go back and play if you've never played it, just for the funsies. Like,
if you're a Spider-Man fan, I'd be surprised if you haven't played this.
Yeah.
Even then, it's not that hard to find on like the aftermarket. It doesn't go for much.
No, it doesn't.
The Dreamcast version does, but
I didn't even know the Dreamcast had a version, so that should tell you how expensive it must be.
It's good. It's good. I got it back when it was cheap for like $20.
Mhm.
Now it's going for like 70, 80. So
Ouch.
the most readily available version is the PS1 version.
Mm-hmm.
And even PS1, 2, or 3, you can play it just fine. If you only have a PS4, I don't know what to tell you. But it might be available on the PlayStation Store. I'm not sure.
I don't think it is.
That's weird.
It's probably
But
because Activision lost the rights. So
you can't find any of those Spider-Man.
All of the Activision Marvel games are just impossible to get now.
Yeah, I was looking up Shattered Dimensions earlier.
Yeah, Shattered Dimensions, Web of Shadows, the first two Ultimate Alliance games. Like, you have to find those games at like a retro game store if you want to.
Luckily, I have the Ultimate Alliance games downloaded on.
So I have the discs too. Play 3, dang it.
I need to. I'll get to it eventually. Next time we meet up for one of these will be Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. Shaco, the main villain, is.
Which will be funny because I've actually never played this one.
You might want to get on that.
No, I am. I'm using this as my motivation to finally sit down and play it.
Do you have a PS1?
Yeah, I have a PS1.
Oh, perfect. You can play.
And I have that copy of that game already. So
you're all set then.
Yeah, I just need to plug my PlayStation 1 in and get to it.
All right. So that'll probably not. I don't know how long it'll take you to beat. It's not a long game, but
give me a few days.
All right. Yeah. So we'll reconvene with that soon. I want to get all these done before Insom Spider-Man 2 comes out. It's a task, but I'm gonna try.
Most of these will be pretty easy to cover.
Yeah. We've played a lot of these back, so.
Oh yeah. But
thank you guys so much for listening in today. Catch me with some more figure reviews coming up soon. You can catch Patrick here on the Anime Secrets, Toku Secrets podcast. I'm even on that channel sometimes. Until then, we'll catch.
Him there or not.
I mainly do the videos on that channel.
Yeah,
that's mainly my thing. But until then, have a great one, guys. Take care.